Hey there guys, how are you? Welcome back to another awesome video, and we're going to be talking about Beetlejuice. So Beetlejuice is about a husband and wife that are no longer a part of the living, and a new family moves into their house, and they want to basically scare off the new family through dead people, through ghosts, through doing weird spooky tricks to try and scare them away, and through an exorcist guy. It's kind of crazy, kind of cool. We'll talk about him later. All sorts of weird, wacky things and whatnot. So this movie is directed by Tim Burton, and I want to say something real quick about Tim Burton because this is when Tim Burton was at his prime. This was the guy that directed the original Batman, who's known for Batman. He's known for Edward Scissorhands. I know technically Tim Burton didn't direct this movie, but he is known and infamous for Nightmare Before Christmas. There's Corpse Bride. There's Big Fish. There's Sweeney Todd, the Barber on Fleet Street, Frankenweenie. Countless of movies that people are very familiar when it comes to Tim Burton. And this is kind of one of the movies that put him at his prime. Has been one of his best films ever since it came out. And the guy just has a great directing style. And I kind of miss this side of Tim Burton, this sort of old school, like the golden age, like when he was at his prime, Tim Burton. I miss that Tim Burton because now we kind of got movies like Dark Shadow, and then Dumbo didn't do so hot in the box office and in theaters, and a few things here and there that kind of been like not phoned in or half-assed. It's just like almost like Tim has lost his touch. But this is coming from when he was at a good rate and everything. And I'm giving this guy a lot of credit for his past experiences because Tim Burton is one of my favorite movie directors. And he has a uniqueness to him. It's a nice combination of dark twistedness meets like a very zany, bizarre sort of funness to it. Because you look at a movie like this, you look at something like Pee Wee Herman, you look at anything else I literally just named. I've basically named most of his filmography. So, with that being said, this is one of his most infamous films. This is one that's been talked about countless of times for sequel and how well it did and even holds up now and all sorts of things that I really appreciate with Tim Burton as a director, and I appreciate with this movie. Because that sense of style that Burton has, the way he makes his creatures, how dark he is, but how like zany it can be, both in a dark zany way, but then also in a lighthearted, fun, goofy way. It's a good combination. He's able to kind of put this together, and he's known for making the most outlandish of like characters in a way and putting them on the big screen and sort of bringing them to life in many ways, making them the most over the top or making them the most grounded. So with a movie like this, it's the right amount of bizarre. It gets zany, it gets weird, but it's dark, but it's also excellent. And this is kind of on another side note, this is kind of one of these movies that I may have not grew up with, because this came out in when did it come out? 1988, says on the back here somewhere. And then I was lucky to I know it's not the best thing, but I was lucky to find the 20th anniversary deluxe edition of that. But for something like that, it's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. But something for that came out in 1988. I totally lost my train of thought for a second. Let me get back on track. I know what I'm doing. 1988. I don't remember what I was just talking about. Oh shit. You know what? I'll keep going. I'm gonna keep going. All right. So, oh yeah. So I may not have grown up in the 80s or in the 90s. I was born in like 2000, 2001. Exactly. I was born in 2001. But I remember watching this when I first watched this movie. like on TV, thinking this movie came out when I was around. So in a way, in terms of like a movie that came out in the 80s, I was really really young, thinking oh wow, I grew up with this movie. I remember this movie. And even for an 80s movie, this is sort of like one of those 80s or 90s films that I felt like I grew up with as like a part of my childhood a little bit, because I remember seeing this once on I remember on the Hub channel, when that was a thing. I don't know if that's still even a thing, unfortunately, which is kind of sad. But I remember watching it. I remember. I remember. I think one time I might have. There was. This has been. Point is, this has been like my fifth or sixth time watching this film, and it still holds up to this day because of how practical it is. And as much as I like how CGI has come a long way and how successful it's become and how almost photorealistic it can be, but I'm also a sucker for practical effects, like in terms like of makeup, the prosthetics, maybe usage of puppeteers, animatronics, also the old school effects, like stuff you'd see like in a Burton movie or things you'd see in a Star Wars movie or even anything like that whatsoever. I like those sort of practical effects as I showcase my Universal Halloween Horror Nights 2018. Quite an experience, I will say. That was quite an experience. This was my first Halloween Horror Night, and it was quite an experience. I enjoyed it. Honestly, I loved it, and I loved the Trick or Treat haunted house. Really fantastic. But enough about Universal. I just figured I'd point this out because it's fitting. Halloween, spooky, dark, horror, kind of like a. I consider Beetlejuice like a horror comedy in a way ish, but not like not in horror like in the way like a jump scare type of horror movie or even like a slasher flick. Just kind of like a very spooky movie to kind of put on at any time, even on Halloween. But because it has those types of vibes and the sort of like designs of the sort of sets, the characters and everything. The human characters, they're fine. They're great. Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, they're good. You see their chemistry. You kind of you like that they're trying to do this thing on their own because they basically have to scare these new people coming into their old house, and they want them out of the house. So they're trying to do all the little spooky things like, oh, be ghosts, ooh, scare them, do also the crazy things, neat makeup, great effects in it. Um, their most famous sort of scares would be like when Alec Baldwin has his face stretched a little bit with the no eyes, and then Gina Davis has her mouth open, and you see the eyeballs sticking out of her mouth, like hits her eyes down her mouth into her mouth, and you see it sticking out, and her jaw is just stretched because there's a great that is good examples of great makeup and the prosthetics, stuff like that. The fact that they go to this ghost world, this undead world, you see all the different unique characters and how it's kind of funny because how they look in the like the underworld, if you want to call it, is how they died. So there's one guy who's literally burnt on fire and he's smoking a cigarette. So you kind of get that idea. There's a dude that's flattened. There's like car marks on him, tire marks on him. You could tell by that. Someone got bit in half. So you do the math. But it's very funny. It's very unique with how like the little things, the little attention to details I like in this movie. Human characters are fine. Those two are fine. I think it's funny that you literally have the new family, like the husband and wife and the daughter that move into the house. Literally, the father is the principal from Ferris Bueller, and the wife is the mother from Home Alone. So that's kind of funny a little bit because they're like they've probably popped up in 80s and 90s films for a while. So it's like, okay, those guys, I remember them, sort of thing. You got Winona Ryder. I think this was Winona Ryder's first movie or one of her first debuts. I'm really not sure, to be honest. I could be wrong, but she's definitely the most interesting, and she's definitely probably the more fascinating because of the fact that she has a weirdness to her. She's quirky, well, not quirky, but she's not emo, but she's not quirky, but she has like this inner like weirdness to her where she's kind of like she's the one person that actually sees the ghosts out of all the humans, and it kind of fits her character with how my family don't acknowledge and other my family and other humans don't really see the ghosts and see spirits because they are too careless to acknowledge them. At least I will kind of look at them and be like, hey, what's going on? I see you. I know you're a ghost. I know you're dead, sort of thing. She's got that weirdness to her. She's got a dark humor. Um, but inside of her, you can definitely tell there's a lot of like an internal sort of thing with her, whether it's her going through a phase or not. Point is, you definitely can tell she had a rough life, and that's why she. Well, not. I don't know if that's really the reason, but that's why she's kind of weird. But human characters are fine. Great puppeteering, animatronics, effects, whatever Burton had to do in order to make these things so convincing. But the top thing that definitely I have to say that really every time I watch this movie, no matter whether the human characters are great, whether the human characters are they're not the most interesting or not, the best thing, the best seller that always brings me home, that I always love about this movie is the character himself, Beetlejuice. And it's deliberately fantastically and stellarly hilarious by Michael Keaton. And whether this was improv or whatever he had to do, it's just such a perfect character. He's become one of my favorites in a while. One of my favorite Keaton performances. I don't know if I'd say it's better than Batman, but I'd definitely say it's up there in top performances without a doubt. This is kind of one of his more crazier, more zanier characters, and it's really fun to see him kind of go over the top. And I like how I see him, obviously, he's the villain for the most part. He doesn't feel like it because he's not too much of a threat, but he's kind of got that comical sort of feel, which is good. It's a nice balance of like, he's not too like overly evil, like, wah-ha-ha-ha, I'm going to do this and do that. But it's more like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to kind of run the show from here. And he's got the most familiar design, he's got the most familiar makeup, he's got the most lines that people remember the most. He does the it's showtime, the qualifications, all these little things that made this character pretty well. And he's a show stealer. This guy's a show stealer. And no matter what happens, it'd be great if we maybe get another Beetlejuice somewhere down the line. Hopefully Tim, maybe you could do something with Beetlejuice again. But this is definitely a character that you don't know a lot about in terms of his backstory, but you like the fact that he's very like mischievous and he's kind of got like this sort of really crazy perverted side to him. Just the little quips and wits that Keaton does here. It's great. It's fantastic. It's hilarious. It's kind of what steals the movie from me. So I can't say anything wrong with this, honestly. Maybe some people might say that the human characters like Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, and the family and everybody else aren't that most interesting, but I still like it for what it is. This is still one of my favorites. I still think this is a movie that holds up to this day because sometimes with older movies, they might maybe in terms of the effects, in terms of the makeup, in terms of like stuff like that, it might not hold up as well. But with something like this, it still holds up today. So, I can't think of anything else really to kind of say. It's got a great style. It's got great humor. It's got great elements. It's got some nice sympathetic moments. Not too keen because this definitely feels like more like a comedy than, say, more dramatic, like something like Edward Scissorhands, because Edward Scissorhands is very dramatic. This one is a lot more comedic. So you definitely can feel it's got a perfect tone. Danny Elfman, once again, does the score, as always, for Tim Burton. Really brings this movie to life. Everything kind of comes together. Would there be a Beetlejuice 2? I wish, but At this point, who knows? Because Tim is kind of just, not that I want to say he's completely lost his touch, but I miss the old Tim a little bit. I miss when he kind of did stuff like this, like Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, Frankenweenie. Uh, I know this didn't do so well, but this is definitely one of my favorite, like one of my guilty pleasures in terms of Tim Burton movies. I'd say the first Alice in Wonderland, but still, um, I can go on. I don't know. Well, Mars Attacks, I don't know. That's a different story. Pee Wee's Big Adventure, some very familiar names, some very familiar movies, definitely without a doubt. Sweeney Todd, I can go on, but enough about that. I'm losing my train of thought, but some people might not see it as perfect as I do, but I really think there's nothing that this movie has really gotten wrong, in my opinion. I love this no matter what, and I still think this is it's a good movie back then, and it's a good movie now. And I give this movie an A. I give this movie an A. A plus, A, whatever. Plain simple. Let me know what your thoughts on if you've seen this movie before. If you've seen this, let me know if you like it, if you hate it. Let me know in the comments below. And also let me know in the comments, what is your favorite Tim Burton movie? If you're a fan of Tim Burton, let me know. If what's your favorite movie? If not, then if you've seen this movie, let me know your thoughts, your opinions down below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please smash that like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I do awesome videos every day, if not a week. Just a small apology if I haven't been doing anything lately. There's a small sort of reason why I haven't. I might explain maybe in a later date, maybe tomorrow, because there's a whole complication we had in terms of trying to get video up. Well, at least for me, and even over at over my friend JDT Incorporated, because I am still associated with JDT Incorporated. But we had a situation getting a video up, and it didn't, some reason, pop up or didn't upload or anything like that whatsoever. But that being said, today, so look forward to this video. Look forward today also a top 10 video. I'm not going to say what it is, but look forward to a top 10 video today. Tomorrow I might be heading over there to try and fix things up, patch that up, because we were supposed to do a video and it never uploaded. And I've been trying to get in an update on you guys on what happened with that for the past like couple days, but some reason it hasn't been working out for me. And I would do an update for you guys, like a little small updated video on what happened within that sort of situation. And I wouldn't be, and I'm not doing it because I'm looking for views, I'm looking for subscribers or desperation or anything like that. I just figured you guys deserve an explanation on what's going on, and hopefully we'll give it to you in time. Maybe in more depth of what happened tomorrow, maybe even Thursday. But also a reminder that after this week, it's going to be a little more difficult getting in videos because this is literally my last week of summer. So obviously starting the 12th is back to school. It's going to be crazy. That is going to be my senior year, but whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, point is that I'm going to try and get as much as I can possible throughout the school year. I would still expect something here and there, but who knows how long it might take. It just depends, because obviously I'm going to have other stuff going on. I'm going to look into maybe like finding more work, because I had a job and I have a job / had a job, but I do have one, but I haven't heard word on when I'm needed back there. So I don't know when that can be. So it's gonna take a little while. Give me a little bit of time, and it's also gonna take a little while for my friend Jaden over there. Give me time. Give us time. We'll explain this probably tomorrow. We'll probably explain this Thursday. So mainly most of this week, I expect a couple of videos, maybe 2 each day, because expect two maybe today, expect two Wednesday, maybe expect one on Tuesday, may expect one on Thursday. If not one on Tuesday, on Thursday, definitely. So something like that. Maybe Friday, maybe Saturday. We shall see. Whatever it is, just kind of, it's gonna take a little while. So bear with me, bear in mind, and all. And uh, wish me luck next week. I'm gonna need it. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and also make sure you are notified of new videos and new content every day and every week. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.